Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is another exciting episode of Tech Tuesdays. Thank you for joining if you're watching live, and thank you if you're watching the replay. We appreciate it. What is Tech Tuesdays? Tech Tuesdays is a joint effort between the Owwll app and South Florida Tech Hub. Who am I? Why am I here today? I am Jeffry Ullman, Director of Membership of the South Florida Tech Hub. We have an exciting and educational show for you today. We have count them, two lovely and vivacious, very powerful women here, and Denis, a handsome guy. So speaking, thank you for laughing, by the way.
Thanks for the intro.
Yes. We are live. We are live and in person. No bots allowed. We are, by the way, live and in person in sunny Boca Raton, Florida. We'll be talking a lot about the city of Boca Raton. Speaking of the Owwll app, if you have the Owwll app, thank you. If you don't have the Owwll app, you can go ahead and download it, configure your profile, because we will be calling out about 30 minutes. If you don't have the Owwll app, and this is the first time you're setting it up, use the referral code of thank you. And as a thank you, we'll give you $10. So speaking of Tech Hub, I've got a couple announcements before we get started. So one of the core pillars of Tech Hub is community. And often that means underserved communities. What do I mean by underserved communities? Well, one are women, such as the two powerful and vivacious women we have here. By the way, we also have a live audience in the background. I don't think she's going to say anything, but we do have a live audience today, not of thousands, of one. So thank you.
That's right, 3 with Jason and stuff.
Well, they're here all the time. So women's, what does Tech Hub do to empower women? We have an annual women's empowerment breakfast. It's coming up Friday, April 25th. It's going to be at the City Furniture headquarters. If you've never had a chance to go there, this is your chance to tour. They don't usually open it up to the public. Stephanie Carton, the co-founder of Entreprenista, is going to be the main speaker.
She's amazing. Love Stephanie.
I have heard her speak before. She is amazing. She is going to be the main speaker. And thank you to Thank you to City Furniture for being the sponsor. Another underserved community are software developers. They don't get enough recognition. We wouldn't have the tech industry if it wasn't for all the great developers out there. So Tech Hub has an annual event called SoFlo DevCon. It's going to be Saturday, May 17th at Nova University. We do have a call for speakers for all of you in the technical community and related. Reach out to me on Owwll. By the way, my office hours are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 5 to 6. And we could talk about potentially becoming a speaker. Last year we had over 1,000 people attend. We're hoping to exceed that this year. So I mentioned the city of Boca Raton. It's the 100th anniversary of the city of Boca Raton. Yay! And we're going to talk about that with Jessica. So being a history buff, I was looking for other anniversaries today, this year rather. And I couldn't find a 100th anniversary, but I found sort of another one that's interesting. And this is a 3-part musical trivia question. So one of my favorite albums of all time is Layla and Assorted Love Songs by Eric Clapton. Hopefully I'm not showing my age here. I might. So the first part of the trivia question, what year was that album released? Cindy.
No clue, but I'll tell you, if my son was here who's 16, he would know. He actually loves classic
All
rock.
Right. How about you,
I
Jessica?
don't know, but I could sure do a pretty mean karaoke of it, though.
Okay. Dennis?
That's right.
Take a
It's a
guess.
classic.
I'm
It's a
thinking
classic.
Sometime in the 70s.
Very close. 1970. So that makes it
Ooh,
the
there you go.
55th anniversary,
Wow.
5-5. So Eric Clapton, fortunately, still alive. That was the first part. Second part is, where was the album recorded? Cindy?
New York City.
Wrong. Jessica?
Miami.
That's correct.
Oh,
saw your notes.
love
She cheated. She cheated. You can read my notes.
Sort of.
Can you read his handwriting? Okay.
Not really.
Criterion Studios, and another trivia, the Eagles have recorded many albums at Criterion Studio in Miami. I don't know if they're still in business, but at one time it was a famous studio. So here's the third parter, and this is a little tougher. And I am showing my age here. Who played slide guitar on Layla?
Wow, I couldn't even guess the year, Jeffrey.
All
I'm
right.
definitely not going to know who played the slide
Same.
guitar.
Okay, it was Dwayne Ullman.
Oh, the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, who later
All
became famous as part of the Allman Brothers.
Oh,
That
okay.
that opening riff, I think that's slide guitar, but it's a famous song. So little backstory of the song because it's really interesting. So Layla was a love song, an unrequited love song that Eric wrote for, at the time, George Harrison's wife, Patty Boyd. She was married to George, and George Harrison and Eric became friends. Eric played lead guitar on While My Guitar Gently Sleeps by the Beatles, if you didn't know that. That's him playing lead guitar. And Eric fell in love with George's wife while she was still married to George.
Wow, little scandal there.
Yeah. So Eric ended up writing Layla for her while she was still married. It gets better. Eventually, Patty Boyd divorced George Harrison and married Eric Clapton.
Wow, it reminds
Good
me of
work.
the song "I Wish I Had Jesse's Girl."
There you go.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for
Springfield. See, I know that one.
what? There's more.
More scandalous
More,
There's
his-
stories.
more history.
So you mentioned your son. So the song was a hit in the 70s. And about 23 years later, MTV, I don't know if they're still around, did a thing called Unplugged, where it was all acoustic. And Eric was on that show. He did an acoustic version of Layla, which also became a hit. So the original rock version in the 70s was a hit. And then the acoustic version, which I think most people probably know now, was a hit. So the last bit, and then I'll be quiet. In 2004, Rolling Stone did a survey of the 500 greatest rock songs of all time, and Layla was number 27.
Wow.
So
What was
there,
number one?
Nice.
I don't know. That'll be on. There you go. That'll be next week's trivia question.
Yeah, we need to get a little up to date.
Are you calling me old?
Yeah. No.
So that's enough for me.
Ariana Grande and Boca. Let's do
Yeah,
that
there we
trivia
go.
last
Let's
next
do
week.
that.
There you go. Anyway, I'm done for now.
Hmm.
So I'm going to have Cindy introduce. Actually, I'm going to have Denis introduce himself, Cindy introduce herself, and then have Cindy introduce Jessica. But before we do that, I'm going to embarrass Jessica a little. So I am a resident of the city of Boca Raton. And before I forgot, I just wanted to thank you because I know how hard you work in your job representing and promoting the city of Boca Raton. So as a resident of Boca Raton, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
means a lot
Thank
to
you.
me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now I'll be quiet. Denis.
Dennis, take it
yourself.
away.
Yeah, good morning and welcome back to Tech Tuesdays powered by Owwll. So we're excited to have a special guest or expert, as we say. Jessica and Cindy will introduce her. I'm Denis from Media Components. We run a full-service digital marketing agency. I'm a proud resident of Boca Raton for the past 3 years.
Nice.
And, Boca is the best place on earth. So I'm excited to kind of ask some more Boca-related questions.
Love it.
And I wanted to introduce my co-host and partner in crime, Cindy.
Thank
Take it
you,
away, Cindy.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm just wanting to jump in and get to Jessica here, but I will quickly introduce myself. Cindy Metzler. I am the founder of Owwll Media. It's a marketing and PR agency. I've been in the Boca Raton community for 26 years. I
Nice.
moved here in the late 90s from New York City to Boca Raton, lived in Boca for many, many years. I still call it home. And met with a lot of tech companies because, as we know, that's where the personal computer was born. And so actually that's how my agency took off, because a lot of the spinoffs from IBM, a lot of tech companies who, by the way, are members of South Florida Tech Hub now. And I'm also a co-organizer of TEDx Boca Raton, and I'm going to introduce the lovely Jessica Del Vecchio. I'm so excited to have her here and to learn more about what's going on with the city of Boca Raton. So thank you, Jessica.
Thank you guys. Really. Thank you so much.
welcome.
A A lot of warmth in this room with the city of Boca Raton residents and past residents. Like you, I've been in Boca Raton a long time. I moved here in 1991, also from New York, so a lot of parallels with us.
Yes.
Never saw a city like Boca in my life, coming from Brooklyn, Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and then I
Came
moved
from
to
the Bronx.
Yeah, love it. The Bronx. And then we moved to Long Island and spent about 10 years on Long Island, where we had beaches and stuff, but it wasn't so close to get to. Moved to Boca Raton, and I was riding my bike to the beach, and I was like, "Holy cow,
Yeah.
where are we?" And Meisner Park was brand new, so there was outdoor shopping. Like
Mhm.
we didn't have that. People forget now. We kind of not take it for granted, but now it's very common to have those types of outdoor shopping facilities and areas and all of that. But when I first moved here, I was like, I will never leave Boca. And I've been in my role. So I'm the Jessica Del Vecchio, Office of Economic Development. I run the office for the city, launched the office in 2015. Boca being very progressive, they started funding the account in 2010. So we have a nice budget to go and recruit companies to come and stay and thrive in Boca. Launched the office myself. I was a one-man show for about 3.5 years, just trying to find out who was here in town. Going around the park at Broken Sound, everyone knows ADT and Office Depot, but there's 700 acres of property in there with HQs and tech companies and all these things, and brought Kelly Kennedy on board about 3.5 years in. And
Hey, Kelly.
we're the dynamic
Kelly.
duo. We really can't be stopped. We love doing things like this with the community. We love the people we get to work with. Celsius is one of them, of many. And Tech Hub South Florida, Owwll, Jason Hill. I mean, just so proud to be partners with everybody here. So thank you so much for having me. Really.
You're welcome. I just want to comment on one thing, and Jessica and I talked about this, and I thought it just showed real foresight, and you kind of passed by this. But back in 2010, I go back to 1910.
Layla. No.
In
I know it now.
2010, you said the city of Boca Raton had the foresight
Mhm.
to start setting aside funding
Yes.
to help attract companies. So talk a little about that. I was
Sure.
just so pleased with
Yes.
that.
So very progressive, very fiscally sound city. They plan for things. They don't just, Boca Raton doesn't just, knee-jerk reaction. They plan things out very thoroughly and thoughtfully, smart growth and things like that. So in 2010, they started putting $1 million a year in the budget. And when I started in 2015, obviously you can do the math, it was a $5 million budget. And we use this to attract companies, to retain companies, and then also to market the city, things that we'll be discussing today. So you can see how we highlight Boca Raton. We are the original PC computer, home of the PC computer, and we want to keep that history, but also trajectory. Like, how do we get that in the future? And that takes commitment, and it includes financial commitment. So the city of Boca Raton has been very smart in how they approach these types of things. I'm lucky to be working at the city of Boca Raton. In case you can't tell, I love it.
Again, thank you for that as a resident. And
Yeah.
I again, I'll compliment Jessica. I do follow you on social media and LinkedIn, and you are a great promoter
Mhm.
of all the companies. You do a great job. So thank you for that as well.
We're just so proud. People have a choice when we move a company in, they're looking at other really amazing cities and other states with similar tax benefits. It's not just Florida. There's Texas we compete with. And to have them land in Boca, we're just so proud to have them. We have them come in and we show them our city. Anyone can show office space, right? And there's nothing wrong with showing office space, but we show them the lifestyle, the education, the workforce that comes from the universities we have here. So that's what sets us apart. You can have a building anywhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No.
I mean, but if you're a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles from the beach and you have FAU, Lynn University, your workforce is right here. I mean,
Restaurants everywhere.
right?
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle play that we sell. So we're so proud that they select Boca Raton. That's why we tout them.
Yeah, I see a lot of positive press. You know,
Yeah.
you build up the momentum, so a lot of people are starting to notice Boca. Maybe
Yes.
like 3 to 5 years ago, it wasn't even on the map.
It's true.
But are you able to mention some of the bigger companies that are moving into the area?
Sure. We not by name. We're working a project right now that will be bringing about 50 to 100. They haven't decided new jobs. It's a publicly traded company that's already based here in Boca Raton. They have some. I don't want to give away too much information, but they have some facilities.
Breaking
on the
news! Breaking news! We'll have to have you back on to announce it.
We will. On the West Coast, they have some major innovative operations going on. And they're either going to be moving people from Boca to the West Coast or from the West Coast to Boca. And we want those innovative jobs here in Boca. So we're working that project right now as we speak. Very good company.
Can you say if
biotech
okay, it is
industry.
tech related?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. That's all I can say.
No problem.
Nice referral for you, Jeff.
Future Tech Hub member.
There you go. Absolutely. And that's the thing, because these companies come in, whether they're here for years or they're new companies, they want to get engaged with the community. And that looks different to everybody. Is that getting involved in something like this, Tech Hub? Is it getting to be on Owwll? Is it getting to give money back to philanthropic causes that are important to them? Everyone's wants are different, and we have such a vast, we can't take any credit. It's Boca Raton. There's a lot of demographics. There's a lot of things to get involved with. So again, another asset that we use for people that want to come into a city and immediately get involved. Tech Hub's been amazing at
Thank you.
partnering with those
So
things.
let's talk a little about that. Thank you for
Yeah.
being a member.
Oh, yes.
Thank
of
you for being
course.
very active. Thank you, Kelly, as well, for being so active. Talk a little about why you're involved in Tech Hub and the benefits you see of being a member in general as well.
Well, I love working with you, Jeffrey,
Thank you.
but I love working with Nikki. Like, I just
That's
feel
fair.
you talk about women empowerment. She started this. I started 10 years ago at the city of Boca Raton, and I believe she was there or just starting out, taking over the role. And I've had multiple conversations with her, kind of growing together. We're trying to figure
Right.
everything out together. She just had the foresight, just like the city of Boca Raton, that it had to be a regional approach, you
Right.
know. And then she not only did, at the time it was, I believe, Tech Hub Palm Beach County,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And then it went Tech Hub Palm Beach County, Broward County,
right.
and then Dade County. And it just shows the
Right.
more people in the ecosystem that we can identify, we being you and Nikki and your
Right.
team, and we as a city economic development team can refer people to your entity. It's mutually beneficial, right? They meet other people, and it's not just networking and going out and meeting, it's actually doing business, right? Conducting business on a local level. We keep those jobs here, we keep the funding here. If you're buying widgets from the West Coast or from another city or another state, and you can buy it here by meeting someone through Tech Hub, it's just so valuable to any community. But I love her regional approach. She was probably the first person I met with that ever looked at it through city lines, county lines, and all of that. And that was just so refreshing, because usually people are like, nope. Even
Right.
myself, I work the city of Boca Raton, but now I find myself working and collaborating with Boynton Beach and other cities. So
Right.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
helps everyone for sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish.
No. Go
We-
ahead. No,
we-
I know Nikki was like the interim CEO, I think, during
Yes.
COVID, and then so happy
Right.
that she got the role of CEO. And how long ago was that, Jeffrey? Do you know? Like 3?
For her being CEO, it's been
Yeah.
about 6 years. So we're
Oh,
talking
6.
about Nikki
Wow.
Caboose. If you're
Flies.
watching, hey, Nikki.
Time flies when you're having fun.
My boss. I've been here 2.5 years. November will be 3 years. So Nikki had the foresight to hire
Yeah.
me. So
We won't hold
But-
that against her.
Thank you. But you mentioned something, and I'm so glad you did,
Yeah.
because it's
Oh, yes.
it's relevant to the Innovate book that South Florida just put out, published rather. And let me give you the backstory by going to the back. It's exactly what you just said. This company that publishes the books came to Nikki and said, we wanted to do an Innovate Miami. And Nikki said, no, if you're going to use and work with Tech Hub, it's going to be Innovate South Florida, because we want to take a regional approach. Yes, obviously Miami is an integral part of Miami. So if you look on the back cover, we now support the 6 counties in South Florida: Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River. There'll be a test later on. Name the 6
Layla.
counties.
It's gonna go all up the East
Layla.
Coast.
Yeah. So, but City of Boca Raton.
Raton.
Excuse me, City of Boca Raton.
Nice centerfold.
Wow. Speaking of centerfold,
Angel in the
there's a
centerfold.
nice 4-page spread of City of Boca Raton, and nice picture of Jessica, because you're so integral to the organization. So congrats on the book.
Yeah, well, this book is Nikki in a nutshell. The fact that they came, first of all, the fact that they came to her and said Miami, everyone knows Miami as Tech Hub. And I give a lot of credit to Miami. They've made some
Right.
major strides, especially through COVID. They got hot and they rode the wave, right? But we are a regional thing. And the first thing she said was, no, it'll be Innovate South Florida. And the second thing she did was get all of us on a call. Not just Boca Raton, Indian River County, all the other economic developers. We had calls of people that we had not met before out of Miami.
Right.
It was she knows she's like the ultimate connector. And this book, yes, we have the middle spread, which surprised me, but that's no credit to us. That's just Boca Raton, its assets and its beauty. But you can see
let
how
you
much
hold the
is
book.
going on. I feel like Vanna White. You can see how much dating myself. You can see how much is going on in all of South Florida, that they have an entire book dedicated to innovation in South Florida. So
Right.
I can take no credit. This is all Tech Hub's doing. And sometimes I think people like Nikki don't get enough praise, and they so deserve it. So that's why I have pom poms for her.
I agree. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Thank you for
I
that.
mean it. She really is great to work with.
Thank you. Well, I want to mention something that you also mentioned that I don't think a lot of people realize, and you kind of alluded to this. So there are other economic development
Yep.
organizations, but I think sometimes people think they're more focused on net new companies.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the conversations we had talked about, there was a company that was thinking of leaving
Yep.
city of Boca Raton. They were already here, but they were leaving, and you got involved. I think you can say who the company name is. And I thought that was interesting that, yes, you're interested in net new, but we want to keep the companies that we have here and don't want them to leave. So maybe talk a little about that.
So that what you just said is like the most important thing in economic development that people don't really realize. It's so much harder to attract a new company than it is to retain the one that you have.
Right.
So here's the dilemma, if you will, or the challenge. New company comes in, we cut ribbons. New company comes in, they get a splash. New companies come in, they're in the newspaper and and online on digital. South Florida Business Journal, who's another amazing partner of ours, by the way. I have to certainly mention them. A company that's looking to leave, if they stay, those jobs stay, right? So there's reports that say 80% of new jobs, not just in Boca, not just in Florida, nationally, 80% of new jobs come from existing companies. So it's so much more important to keep the companies you have, even though it may not be as glamorous. There may not be ribbons being cut, but it's so much more important because there are people already working there. Can you imagine? We all work, right? And you hear that your company is closing. I mean, it's just spirals out where jobs are now unfilled, and then it floods the job market if they're sizable enough. One of the companies we had worked with was a very sizable company. So it's so much more important to love the one you're with, if you will. And I don't think a lot of people see that. I think a lot of people are like, oh, new company. And we love the new companies, right? But we have to also, the retention aspect is so important to any economic development program. And again, some economists argue that it's the most important. So that's why when you mention that, it's impressive to hear, because people are usually caught up in the sexy ribbons and things like that. So it is probably as important, if not more important, to retain the companies that you have. And that's why we do things like this, to get the word out. Because sometimes companies think, well, I'm leaving. What can the city do for me? Well, there's a lot we can do for you, you know? And we can get into that if you want to talk about some of them.
I wish I could say I thought of that, but I got that from you.
Oh,
from
no wonder I liked it.
From being on a call with a company, you talked about the fact that you work with existing companies as well, and I had personally never had thought of that. So,
yes.
Can you? I think I know who the company is. Can you say who that?
You say.
Well, I don't. I may be wrong. I don't want to say.
It doesn't matter really, because the truth is we can help any company, right? It doesn't matter their name or even their sector. So it could be someone in healthcare. It doesn't have to be technology. It doesn't even have to be fancy. We have people that are just doing their small business. We're creating resources for small businesses that we've never had before. You know, times are different. It's more expensive to operate in any city in South Florida because of the success we've had through COVID. So we're coming up with new programs to assist these businesses, large and small. And we just want the word out to call us. Like we're here for you as a resource. We're free. We're in your budget. You can afford our services as any business owner. And if we can't help you, chances are we know a resource that can, state programs and things like that. So we just want to be accessible to everybody.
Well, if a company is considering moving into South Florida or Boca,
yes.
What are some of the main programs or benefits that you would bring up to them?
Well, a lot of them, majority of them are non-financial. So the benefits are, I mentioned earlier, the workforce. Major concern for people moving a company here is how do I hire and get up and running ASAP, because time is money, right? We also are, and we have the universities right here. So we do the tour of the universities. They get to meet the career programs, the people who run the career programs here. And then we even go above that with Palm Beach County, Career Source of Palm Beach County. Huge partner of ours. They do a lot for our businesses. They're probably my first call because it's one person, Michael Corbett, that we work directly with.
Michael's a dear friend too.
Oh, I love
him. Amazing. He was the executive director of Internet Coast before.
Oh,
Remember?
I didn't know that.
Internet Coast was the pre-Tech Hub.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Really?
Michael Corbett is actually on the board of Tech Hub.
I did not know
Yes,
that.
Yeah. and
Yes.
Career
See all the
Source.
synergies.
There you go.
I'm
Yes.
serious. It's like a small town where
It really
you're
is.
working
Yes.
you're working 6 counties, and we all seem to know. Like, that's what I love
Sure.
about the
Yeah.
area.
And we work with Career Source Palm Beach County and Career Source
And he
Broward.
was at Citrix back in the day
Yes.
too. Yeah, we used to
Right.
have a lot of events there in the late 90s during the dot-com boom.
Yep. Yeah, he's a great partner. So there's resources like that for workforce on the job training grants that a lot of people don't know are available. We offer incentives at the city level, based on basically basically giving you an overview. It's based on job creation, capital investment, and things like that. We are creating new programs for smaller businesses, like I mentioned. So a lot of low to no cost resources are out there, and we are just the connector. We just connect you with what you're looking for. We can put you in the room with them. Some of them want to meet peer to peer. They want to meet CEOs in their industry. Should I come to Boca? And we set those up behind the scenes. A lot of our stuff, although you see us active on LinkedIn, is behind the scenes. Because we just want to welcome people, let them know this could be their home for the long term. And what does that look like for them? And once you have that relationship with them, they will call you for anything that they might need. Even sometimes when they're building a home or they're moving, light switches, we put them in touch with the building department. It seems silly, but they just finally have a contact that they can reach someone at a municipality, which is
It's more personal.
they're not in the loop of put the extension that they're calling us directly. So it's a great concierge service that the city of Boca Raton offers.
So, you've been a great guest so far, Jessica, and I knew you would. So I'm sure there are a lot of people going to want to follow up
Sure.
after the podcast. Why don't you go ahead and spell out the URL of the website that people can come and get more information, and the new website for the 100th anniversary.
Sure.
So people can get more information on the centennial celebration.
Sure. So again, we want to be hyper accessible. So it's myboca.us. You type that in, and then you'll see businesses or economic development office, and we are right there. You just send us an email to contact us directly. It'll come right to our inbox. And then there's boca100.com. That's our centennial website where you can see what's happening, all the events that'll be taking place. We're so proud to be 100 years old. I joke that, Boca never looks so good. 100's her
Looks
best
pretty
year.
good for 100.
It sure does.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And there's so many community events, and people are coming out, and people, again, are so proud to be part of this. We've all lived here, new residents, existing residents. There's so many cool things happening. It's ever changing. So check the website. But really cool, they made an announcement, I believe yesterday, that Weezer is going to be hosting the concert for the centennial. So just kind of cool things happening.
And I saw they're looking for a new flag design as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's
yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a big drone
Yes.
experience.
I
at
love
the Boca
drone shows.
Innovation Campus.
Don't you?
Yes.
And
Oh
so
yeah.
the Boca we didn't even talk about
Right.
the Boca Raton Innovation
Right.
Campus. I mean, what is it? 1.7 square feet, 1.7 million square feet of office space. People don't realize it's like the same size footprint as Town Center Mall. I mean, that is sizable. You mentioned it because you mentioned the PC
Yes.
computer, but that really got Boca on the map.
Right.
And
So we had Gianna on a
love
couple of weeks
her,
ago.
love her, love
Boca Ra-
Angela. It was great to work with.
Yeah.
So
great.
BRIC,
Visionary.
BRIC, Boca Raton Innovation Campus, the original site of IBM, where the
Your
personal computer.
stomping grounds.
Yes, I spent time
Jeffrey?
in that building when it was IBM. I am that old. I spent a lot of time there. I never worked there, but we used the building. So a lot of history
A lot of history.
in Boca Raton Innovation Campus, BRIC. Cindy's got an event coming up later we'll talk about. That's going to be at BRIC.
We just had an event there too. They're
That's
a great
right.
partner.
forgot.
They're an
Great
amazing
partners.
partner. Yeah.
So
What a vision they have for that place. I mean, really, it's going to be, we throw around game changer a lot, but that project is going to shape the city.
it's a beautiful facility, and I have to hand it to them. They've done a great job
Yep.
as caretakers. There
Mhm.
was some concern when it was originally sold. People going to upkeep and develop, and they've certainly modernized it, enhanced it, and it's a really beautiful place.
When I first started 10 years ago, I'd walk through there with CEOs and check out the property, and it was dark and it was gloomy and there was old carpet. And it's not a knock. It's just the inventory we had. You have to sell the inventory you have as any economic developer. But now to walk through CP Group, Angelo Bianco, Gianna, and the rest of the team, they just have a vision and they care. This is a local developer.
You
you
don't
know,
really feel like you're in Florida. You feel like you're in Silicon Valley.
it's
Like, the first time
amazing.
I went in there, I'm
Yes.
like, wow, was this like Google campus?
Yes.
Very
So
state
it's
of the
very
art.
technical,
Yeah.
very modern, clean. Like the restaurant, the coffee shops.
Sells
You can
itself.
just come and work there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful.
Breaking news: Weezer is going to be the headliner at the main concert for the 100th centennial birthday. Will there be cake?
Sure. We'll
Okay.
have cake.
Let them eat
Let them eat
Let me
cake.
get- I'll come for the cake and Weezer.
Okay.
Weezer is a great brand. They've done a lot of new stuff and old stuff as well. That's another show. So check out the website for the Centennial.com.
Boca 100.
And we hadn't talked a little about this, but I'm sure you're going to make yourself available on the Owwll app.
Yes.
So later this week, connect with Jessica on the Owwll app. And speaking of Al, we're going to try in a few minutes or right now, live and in person. There's nothing up our sleeves. This is all real live technology. I say that because sometimes there are issues. We're going to connect with people on Owwll as a great networking app. Who we call it?
And let's give Owwll a little shout out. Talk about like serial entrepreneur right here, Jason Hill, and bringing more tech to the Boca Raton area and community, right? All the people on the Owwll app. And he does so much for so many of our events, definitely for TEDx Boca, but so many
Jason's
events.
definitely bringing all the Boca Raton local like CEOs, entrepreneurs together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was like the biggest startup that I noticed as soon as I moved in here. So we're gonna call Earl. He's a Boca owner.
One more plug, Jason. So we have Jason Hill, the founder of the Owwll app. He's in the background.
That's right. Cheers. Cheers
proud
to
to s-
Owwll.
I'm proud to say he's in the book as well. So congratulations on that, Jason, for being in the book. All right. So one of the nice features of the Owwll app has many nice features, but one of the things is you can consciously indicate when you want to go live, which is kind of nice. So we're going to call Earl, that he's indicated he's going to go live. Hopefully he'll be available. If not, we'll call someone else.
And while we're waiting, I'm going to talk about the journey with the Boca Raton Innovation Campus and TEDx Boca Raton. So Eric and I took over the license of TEDx Boca Raton in 2017 and met with Gianna and Angelo back then. We were hosting the event at FAU, which we're all volunteers for TEDx. So we donate our time and talent to create TEDx Boca Raton, and right away, Gianna, Angelo, they wanted to be part of it. And we've been waiting until we've hosted a lot of smaller events there, and we waited until the bigger room was available. And last year, that was our 8th event, and we finally were able to host it in their beautiful, beautiful, state-of-the-art conference room there. And we've brought in thought leaders from Disney, NASA, Facebook, Google, Apple to speak at TEDx Boca Raton. And there we have, and they recognized it at Brick is what I wanted to give them a shout out. Brick.
Thank you, Gabriella. This is Jeffry Ullman. You are live on a podcast. I'm required by the Federal Communications Commission to ask you if you're okay us recording your voice and rebroadcasting it to the free world live on the Tech Tuesday podcast. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Okay. I was joking there. Didn't mean to sound overly dramatic. So thank you for taking the call. Tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Okay. My name is Gabriela. I work for LAN Infotech, which is an IT managed services. Yes.
Oh,
we had your CEO here.
Yeah, Michael Goldstein was on.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah, so I didn't pick that up. So thank you. So what do you do for LAN Infotech?
So I'm a Microsoft specialist. I work in the sales department. And I don't know. You got me off guard, so I'm like, wait, what's happening right now?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Well, he was amazing, and he does so much for the South Florida community, LAN Infotech, and so does Glenn. right? He's definitely
Correct.
part of South Florida Tech Hub. So we have a live podcast that we're running right now, and we have Jessica Del Vecchio with the city of Boca Raton.
Hi, Gabriella.
We're just
Hi.
talking about some great things about South Florida and Boca. So maybe you can tell us a little bit how long you've been here and where you're based out of.
I live in Miami Lakes.
Okay,
I've
wonderful.
been in South Florida for, it's gonna be around like 14 years.
Wow.
Or,
Okay. And where did you come from, Gabrielle?
well, I originally was born in Mexico, but I moved from Israel
Oh, wow.
to South Florida. Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think about South Florida? I know it's been a while, but we were just talking about all the wonderful things about Boca and the South Florida area for businesses.
Well, I think there is a lot of potential. Still, a lot of people say South Florida is like full and it's overcrowded, but I don't think so. I think there's a lot of potentials in many aspects, and there's a lot of opportunities for especially for young people. So I'm very thrilled, like always discovering what people are doing here and why they come here, especially for business.
Yeah, I think so too.
So speaking of Land Infotech and Michael Goldstein, he's in the book as well. So happy to promote, and kudos to y'all for being in the book. As Cindy mentioned, Michael and Land Infotech gives back tremendously to the community. Glenn Benjamin, who works for Land Infotech, we actually gave him an award last year for, I don't know, world's greatest community involvement person. That wasn't
Correct.
the actual title, so he's great. He's very involved. We got to get you coming to more events.
Well, I think Glenn, it's a name of himself. Like he is really always advocating for everybody, for the community, for bringing obviously the company's name, pushing for how we support the community. Michael as well is Michael is everywhere. Like you just need to say Michael or Glenn, and everybody knows who they are.
True.
And they're always so happy to have them everywhere. And honestly, like every event, every networking, every place I go, I'm proudly carrying the Land Infotech because I'm able to be part of this community approach. And that's something that you normally don't hear in corporate companies or something like that. So it's very, sorry, I'm like walking. It's really amazing to see how they're working, how they are helping, and obviously taking a little part of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The other thing I wanted to point out with what you said, Gabriella, is Jessica and I were talking about how we moved here from New York City in the 90s. And back then, everybody was, well, to me anyway, it was like, why are you moving to Boca Raton? And I was like, oh, there was a little thing called the personal computer invented in Boca Raton, but the trajectory over the past 25 years has been incredible. And it just continues to grow. And so, Jessica, maybe you can speak to that, and Gabriella too, because you were just mentioning how, I think we're just starting out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree
Correct.
with Gabriella. Sorry. I
Sorry?
agree with her when she says a lot of potential and people are tapping into that potential. It used to be, oh, we'll move to Florida when we retire. I mean, this is a decade ago, right? Now people are opening offices. It used to be a satellite office. Now it's their real office. Now it's their HQ. So yeah, I think people are tapping into the potential. I think COVID really expedited that. It really accelerated the interest in South Florida. But we're doing it right in South Florida. We support our businesses, not just Boca, but the region with, entities like South Florida Tech Hub, people like Gabriella working at these companies that she's so proud to work at. Like, you call someone randomly, I don't know who she is. And she's like, talking about
She's great.
her CEO and
No,
she's
thank
just so
you.
happy. I mean, that's
Thank you.
that's the Florida business environment for the most part.
It's interesting what you just said. So as part of my job, I talk to a lot of new potential members. And I say, you're new here. What do you think of the South Florida community? And invariably 90% say, I got to tell you, it's so welcoming.
Yes.
It's so warming.
Yes.
It's not like Silicon Valley.
No.
That's true.
Everybody wants to be supportive. Everybody wants to see everyone else succeed, which isn't always true in other cities. And I think that is very true.
I feel like Boca Raton is a sophisticated city
Yep.
that has a small town feel.
Right.
right?
Is that the official slogan?
It's about to be.
right now.
I like it.
We're going to uncover that. We're going to unveil it at the
Discovered it.
Centennial event.
Love it.
Breaking
No, and
news.
it's easy too. It's a lifestyle that's live, work, play, and
Yeah.
it's easy. Just growing up in a different area. I mean, Dennis moved here from Philly. You can say, it's so easy when you want to do something, when
Yeah.
you want to go places. You have so many options.
Mhm.
Right in Boca Raton.
Yep. Yep. It is full service city. It really is.
I want to mention one other thing, and Gabriella, you just mentioned the other thing a lot of people ask me about and talk about is the cultural diversity
Mhm.
in South
Correct.
Florida. And I joke in that if you come to our events, you'll meet some Colombians, you'll meet some Brazilians,
Mhm.
you'll meet someone from Ukraine, you'll meet a lot of Israelis. And they go, really? I go, yeah, it's a really, and I'm always kind of surprised pleasantly of the diverse mix
Yeah.
of people all over the world that come to South Florida.
It's the gateway to Latin America too.
Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly. Gabriella, we've got about 2 minutes. Anything you want to mention we haven't talked about? Thank you again for
Anything
taking
coming
the call.
up with Lana Infotech we should know about?
Well, just stay tuned. Like, I know Mike is working on great things, great projects, and there's always big ideas to work with the community and to support. And obviously, we always share the knowledge and everything new that comes in technology. I'm pretty sure you're gonna hear from us in a good way. So just stay tuned for that. And thank you guys for surprising me with a call, I guess.
You did great.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
You weren't
Thank you.
scared off by what I said, so thank you for that.
I'm good. Don't worry. I'm good. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Gabrielle.
Have a great day.
You mentioned something again in passing that I think is important. That again, when people hear economic development, I think, including myself, they think of monetary. And you talked a lot of what you're able to provide is non-financial.
Mhm.
The other thing I get from a lot of people, it's good news, bad news. They go, Jeffrey, there's so many different programs.
Mhm.
I'm confused. Who do I talk to? Who do I reach out to? It's good news, bad news. So that's why I always think of Jessica in that you're a resource
Mhm.
for a lot of non-financial things. So
Right.
maybe talk about that as well.
Yeah. So, and it's not just me. So, we're talking a regional approach. There's economic development managers at most cities that are attracting businesses and working. So, most of the non financial incentives are some of the core incentives that we offer as a community, whether it be, again, workforce development is really one of the bigger ones that we like to drive home. And we're lucky to have the universities here. Like I said, sometimes they want access to, the hospital. We have a hospital here. So, if they're in a med tech industry and they want to have connections at the relatively new FAU Med School and the hospital, we have the airport here, which is a huge asset for you talk about Latin America and things like that. There's just access that we have in South Florida. Then most of those assets, luckily, are based in Boca, and we really owe that to IBM, who really got us on the map, and we owe it to the radar, which was developed at the airport, which a lot of people don't realize, right here in Boca Raton. So a lot of rich history on technology, but we are not going to just sit back and let the past, define us. We want more technology, we want more innovation, and we want to support those businesses. And if it's financial incentives, we have that, right? But a lot
Right.
of times people just want to get in, get up, get running, and have the best staff and team that they can build. And we can help with that. So it's very important. I think workforce is probably the most important thing
And
after development.
that's another good point. That's often overlooked.
Totally
People think of
overlooked.
just the financial, physical infrastructure, not the workforce development. That's actually an area that Tech Hub tries to help as well.
Absolutely.
We have a full-time person, Ashton Adler. If you're watching, hello, Ashton. She works in that area full time. So we have a lot of emphasis, and that's one of our 4 core pillars as well, tech talent.
And there's some incredible success stories besides, the obviously big ones like IBM, but look at modernizing medicine at the Boca Raton Innovation Campus. That was born out of the incubator, and the Child Rescue Coalition also at the Boca Innovation Campus. They're doing some incredible work that's global, really. So maybe you can
life-saving work, by the way.
Life-saving,
I mean, really, that's
incredible.
not dramatic. It's really true. And something I didn't mention is the incubators and the accelerators that we have here. So I don't know how much time we have, but I'll go brief.
Well, I wanted to, because I know that City of Boca Raton supports and helps
Yes.
fund the one at Florida Atlantic University. So talk a little about that.
Sure. So we, as a municipality, we cannot incentivize startups due to the obvious, honest failure rate that happens. I mean, that's just the nature of the industry, but we do want to support innovation. So we want to support the ecosystem. So we provide grant funding annually to the Tech Runway. Great organization. I love.
We had
working-
Jessica Beaver on a
love
couple
her.
of weeks ago.
I
We
love her.
Jessica too.
know
The
I
other
s-
Jessica.
The two of
The
us.
two
in our-
Jessicas.
the two
By the
of
way,
us
you
in a
both have
room.
amazing
We do,
skin.
we have-
No,
not-
amazing skin.
Really?
Serious. I sat next to the other Jessica. I was like, your skin looks
She
so
and I get in a
beautiful.
room
You too.
together and we don't even need coffee. We're
Yeah.
just like, there's
That's
nothing
true.
she and I can't do.
That's true.
Yes.
Are y'all
She's
related?
incredible.
No,
Sisters
no
of different
relation.
mothers?
No, but we both have that same energy, that
Yes.
True.
go.
Yeah.
True.
And then we support Research Park at FAU, which does some amazing things as well. And one of the most recent supports that we did, speaking regionally, is we sought out 1909. Based out
Mhm.
of West Palm Beach, doing some amazing things, supporting small businesses and startups. And so now we brought them into the fold and we're providing some funding to them to see how they can bridge that gap between coming up with a concept, graduating into the research park, and now we as a city want them to graduate into corporate space and like a modernizing medicine.
Mhm.
You know,
Are they going to open up a spot here in Boca?
right now it's all virtual,
A virtual
but they will be obviously. But we're just this just was signed probably a month ago.
Breaking
So
news. A lot of
she's
breaking news.
another
1909.
power woman at
Yes.
1909.
Right,
Yes.
Yeah,
Shayna?
Shayna's
Yes.
amazing.
Shayna does amazing
Yeah.
things. So we wanted to bring that, they're doing great things in West Palm and it's not like a competition. We're like, come down to Boca. So we're doing that.
Right.
And then Kevin Cox, Dr. Cox, we're working with him through the Adams Center to provide some support, just to show them that we care as a city. It's not making anybody rich. It's not, but then they can select who should be supported, what type of resources are needed, because those entities in the ecosystem work together to decide, who's doing what and what's needed most to fill those gaps. So it's not something for the municipality to decide; it's for the experts in the industry to decide. So that's why we support these entities, and it's very rewarding to be.
We've had Dr. Cox. He lets us call him Kevin, even though he does have a PhD. We've had him on periodically on Tech Tuesdays. He's a regular with Jason on the Shrimp Tank.
He just won some amazing
He-
award.
he
Yeah,
did,
It's incredible.
And
Amazing.
I may
Like,
have
real
the
deal.
title wrong, but he won Entrepreneurship Professor of the Year for the whole state
It's
of
incredible.
Florida.
I mean, we
Yeah.
have that right here in Boca.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that sells
He
itself.
does so much for the startup community.
Really.
And Kevin, if you're watching, he's such a humble guy. I think, such a nice,
I like that.
yeah, nice, approachable, humble
Yes,
guy, and he doesn't
yes.
make you call himself doctor.
And he knows his stuff. Like
He
when we're
does.
sitting, I've had a lot of clients on Shrimp Tank too, and they're all, startups or established businesses in Boca or South Florida. And he asks the most incredible questions. And now there's a studio audience there too,
Yeah, I
his
love that.
students, which is amazing.
Right.
I don't know any startup that's come through the ecosystem that I've worked with that has not touched him in some way, whether it
Right.
be a phone call, an email, a
Mhm.
meeting, so
Right.
he's very, very engaged.
So Cindy mentioned that the Shrimp Tank Boca, another podcast, now has a new studio at Florida Atlantic University that Jason does podcast once a week with Dr. Cox. I'm going to
Yep.
call him Doctor.
It's awesome.
So
Mhm.
Shrimp
Awesome
Tank Boca,
studio.
take a look at that.
Students on site, which gives such
Yep.
such a good vibe, right? They have
Yep.
such great questions.
When they learn so
I
much
know.
from
Well,
it.
we learn so much
Yeah,
too. Like when they ask the questions,
absolutely.
I'm like, wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
So
Incredible.
Jessica, I wanted to ask you,
Mm.
since I'm in the digital marketing,
Yes.
social media space, I really want to give you kind of kudos for providing all the promotion support for businesses in
Mhm.
the area.
Mhm.
What's your marketing plan, and what kind of digital tools do you use, and what do you see that's working the best in your experience to promote local businesses? Use it for retention of businesses.
Mhm.
Want to kind of ask you a little more technical question.
Sure. So I hate to say this, but I don't really have a plan. I am more involved in the day-to-day operations of, welcoming the companies here and showing them the operational side. So when it comes to promoting them, I really just do my best to put them out there and show that, again, we're supporting them. I run the LinkedIn, my personal LinkedIn myself, obviously.
You do a great job with
Yep.
I
LinkedIn.
love it.
Yeah.
So before I forget, not only reach out to Jessica on Owwll, but follow her personally on LinkedIn.
Yes. And then we have some plans for marketing and how that looks. We work closely with our communications teams because they're the experts. We don't need to come up with the plan, right? We have a team that does all that. So you'll see that we have some annual report that came out about a month or so ago. We have a new report coming out soon. Just again, tout what the businesses are here because, in my opinion, nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. So if you have a company that's moved here and you're in that same industry, you'll be like, how come I didn't think to come to Boca? Why am I still in the snow or the high tax state or whatever it is? But I cannot emphasize enough how many leads I get off LinkedIn. Majority of the leads that we receive from CEOs come from LinkedIn. You would think they come from the city website. Nope, they come through LinkedIn. So it's a very important portal or mechanism for us as a city to, because we make it approachable, we put it everybody out there as often as we can. We try to stay as active as possible. We don't put out, I'm not someone who's like, you have to post every day or every week. To me, if there's news to share, we share it. You know, I don't really think through it. Probably not the answer you want, but we try to just be live with it and
It's
be
organic.
authentic, you know?
It's organic.
Yeah, and
That's
there
a good
is,
word.
I mean, LinkedIn is something that so many people and companies don't realize.
I know the
we
power.
we get so many leads from LinkedIn. And when I say leads, relationships, really, they're
Yes.
reaching out because they're saying, oh my gosh, look what you're doing. Look what you're doing with TEDx. Look what you're doing with these $1 million message events at the Boca Innovation Campus. And when they
Yep.
see the people that you're connected with,
Yep.
and you are amazing at that,
Mhm.
Jessica.
You are
like
too.
you do such a great job. And
Mhm.
again, it's organic. It's
It's
not like
organic.
you're promoting, you're
No,
just sharing. And all of a
sharing.
sudden it's bringing people your way to want to be part of your ecosystem.
I know. And people are like, oh, great job, Jess. I'm like, no. It's not me. It's it's the city sells itself, right? I just have to
Mhm.
make the connection, But I'm glad that I'm the one that gets to do that. It's just such
Yeah.
an awesome
And you
way to
also
work.
been putting little like videos. You go inside
Yes.
the business,
Yes.
kind of opens
Yes.
up doors a little more private in
Yes.
setting. So I
Mhm.
think
Uh,
if you continue doing more videos,
We
people
are.
will definitely engage.
We're doing one in about 2 weeks with a company that just had some FDA approval. So really kind of cool. We just try to stay cutting edge as we can as a municipality. I mean, we're not Owwll app and we're not doing podcasts like this. But as a municipality, I really give us
You're
credit.
really-
I give
you're-
us credit.
No, kudos to the city of Boca
Yeah.
Raton. You are miles ahead of a lot of other
I feel
city
that
and
way.
county governments.
It's
You
not
really
me,
are.
it's the whole city. It's
Right.
we're very innovative and we try to tap into our technology using the history of IBM. We kind of say to ourselves, what can we do differently? There's different ways to get information out, and we just try to do that. And things like this are so important.
So, Jessica,
Mhm.
in life, there are happy times and then there are sad times.
Uh-oh.
This is one of the sad times.
What? Oh, okay. I
We're
gotcha.
kind of coming to the end of the episode. It makes me sad.
Makes
You
me
have been
sad.
an amazing guest.
Thank you, Jeff.
I knew you would be.
Yeah,
So thanks for again being on the show.
absolutely. Thanks
We're-
for having me.
You're welcome. We're going to do what I call go around the horn, which came from the Cape of Good Horn when people had to in ships cross around Africa. I don't know if
Okay.
anybody knew that. Some more trivia.
No?
Going around the horn came from the Cape of Good Horn. Probably
Okay.
too much information. Again, so I'm going to have Dennis go, and then let Cindy go, and then let you go, and then I'll wrap up. Anything any of y'all want to mention that we haven't mentioned? Any upcoming events like TEDx Boca Raton? Any other $1 million events? Anything that we didn't mention you want to mention? So Dennis, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, this was very insightful, interesting conversation, Jessica. Thanks for being on our show. Yeah, since we're talking about Boca, I wanted to just give a shout out to kind of like a volunteer Boca Raton Instagram channel that we have. It's called Around Boca Raton. So it's just a group of influencers locally sharing events, venues like restaurants. If you're looking for a fun place to go or eat, just check out that account. And always a pleasure being. Thanks.
What's the handle on Instagram?
At
Up.
Around Boca Raton.
Oh, Jason's good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes we also share and reshare city events and
And
grand
there's a
openings.
website too that I post a lot of things on around Boca.
aroundboca.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the name.
Mm-hmm.
We just posted a nice press release about our event at the Brick. So we had, close to almost 200 people there.
Yeah, almost 200 people.
Cindy, you want to
like you
give a
said.
little explanation what it was?
Sure. So Dennis and I have a community called $1 Million Media, and we host a lot of different events. We hosted a $1 Million weekend in Jupiter. We hosted one in Del Rey. We basically get these beautiful Airbnbs, and we bring in 8, 9, 10-figure entrepreneurs to be thought leaders and speakers. And a lot of this came from TEDx, people that we have access to that are doing beautiful things. And, there's an expression like, if you want to get advice from people that are ahead of you, right? And I felt like, even for my business, being in business for 25 years, it really wasn't until COVID, I would say, maybe 2020, that I started surrounding myself with people, agencies, businesses that are ahead of me, 8, 9, 10-figure entrepreneurs that I'm learning from. So that's really what the thought process is. And then we hosted the $1 Million Message at the Boca Innovation Campus last month, and we brought in, there were so many amazing ladies, like a C-level executive from CVS and Forbes Riley. We bring in, influencers, things like that, so that other people can learn from people that are ahead of them. And that's really the recipe. And we are having our second annual AI event at the end of May. We actually are working on setting up the date with that with the Boca Innovation Campus. And then I'll just quickly mention TEDx Boca Raton is slated for October 4th at the Boca Raton Innovation Campus. We have, because of the centennial, Boca100.com, right? Eric, my counterpart there, he heads up the drone division for Mitsubishi Electric. So we're hoping we have a lot of amazing things planned for TEDx Boca Raton. So stay tuned for that. Go to TEDxBocaRaton.com, learn more about it, subscribe, and you'll get notifications and updates on that. So,
And
exciting things
Jeffrey,
happening.
thanks for signing up to help us out with the event.
I have officially applied to be a volunteer at TEDx Boca Raton as a resident of Boca Raton.
We'll see you
Oh,
there.
There
Excuse
you
me.
go.
Excuse
Boca
me. I'm
Raton.
gonna
Boca
support.
Raton, tone.
And Cindy forgot to mention she's also looking for sponsors and other volunteers. So
Yeah, we're all volunteers actually for TEDx Boca. So we can't. The event is it used to cost over 100,000. We've whittled it down to 50,000, and most of that money comes from ticket sales. But we always need partner dollars, and we've been very fortunate to have some businesses be partners, and we have a lot of discussions happening. So hopefully, if you're interested, definitely reach out, DM.
Yes.
So thank you, Cindy. Jessica, again, you've been an amazing guest. I knew you would be, or I wouldn't have had you on. Any parting thoughts? Anything you want to mention that we
No.
haven't talked about?
I think we
Here.
covered a lot about Boca in the time that we had. I mean, I can talk about Boca forever. I just am so proud to be here. I'm so proud to work for the city of Boca Raton. I mean that. And the people I get to work with in the community, whether they be business executives, the startup community, you guys. I mean, all the things that are happening in Boca. I mean, a lot of cities don't have this. So all of us are very fortunate, but I consider myself pretty damn lucky to work for the city of Boca Raton. So
Thank you.
Amazing.
thank you.
Thank you. It's been another exciting episode of Tech Tuesdays. Thank you, Steph.
Thank
See you
you.
next
Thank you,
week.
Jason.
you.
See you next week.
Thank you.